Supervillains do many horrible things, but there's one thing in comics and movies that oftentimes people avoid: stalking. In this story, a supervillain catches the eye of a beautiful woman, and he starts following her, using his abilities to get closer and closer and closer, in the hopes of maybe one day the woman falling in love with him. Shockman has amazing powers. Control over electricity makes him a formidable threat, and Shockman has always seen himself as a king. Viewing humans as beneath him, he tries to capture as much electrical energy inside his body, which is a giant battery, but he has to do battle with Dr. Quake, the superhero who protects the city, on a daily basis. Dr. Quake smashed him into the ground and connected rubber cables to Shockman's face. All the electricity drained out of him, and he was zapped unconscious, steaming, and alone. As he was thrown into a prison cell that drained his electricity, he thought, why? Why do I always lose? Why can't I ever have my kingdom? And more importantly, he thought, why can't I ever find someone to share my kingdom with? Why am I so alone? It was easy for Shockman to break out of the prison. Most people didn't even understand how electricity worked. When you drain a battery, if you can transform your body into electrical energy, you can ride the current of where that battery is draining to, into the source. Shockman went through the cables of the prison outside to the giant generator. It turns out the city was using him to generate power. He made it explode easily and jumped out of the generator, scaring the guards and shocking them into unconsciousness. He could kill them if he wanted to. He didn't see a reason. Shockman had never been a murderer, not really. He killed when he had to, but it was all about that grand vision, getting that kingdom together. As Shockman rode the electrical waves of the city, he listened to the meaningless drivel of humanity. Did nobody want anything greater for their lives, for themselves? And then he heard a woman's voice. She wasn't talking. She was singing opera, Ave Maria. It was such a beautiful, authentic sound. Shockman had never heard about it before. He paused in the walls of the singing woman's apartment and looked through a light bulb at her as she sang. She was beautiful as her voice, or even more, with gorgeous blonde hair going down past her shoulders. She must have been 20 or 21. Shockman couldn't believe how beautiful she was. As the song crescendoed, Shockman found himself humming along with it. The girl looked at the light bulb. Shockman panicked. All the power in the block went out. Shockman came out of the generator, panting. All this time, Shockman had been wondering if he would ever have a queen to share his kingdom with. Now Shockman knew. He was in love. He had been more careful the next time he went over to her apartment. She wasn't singing anymore. She worked as a waitress in a restaurant. It was easy for Shockman to follow her through the electricity and watch her through light bulbs. He learned her name, Lorian, and he learned where she was from, outside the city, living alone here, trying to make it, trying to make her dreams come true. If only she could love someone like me, Shockman thought. His body was pure electricity, glowing blue, and he had terrifying white eyes that shocked with intensity. He couldn't transform himself into looking normal. In fact, most people, whenever they saw him, ran away screaming, knowing all the crimes that he did. But still, Shockman hoped that maybe Lorian could look past it. Maybe, if he caught her at the right time, in the right moment, she could love him, too. Love. Shockman realized it when he watched her sleep. He did love Lorian. Maybe she was the first woman he ever loved. Shockman tried to follow her, but Dr. Quake was getting closer and closer, finding his position. He'd already created a giant wall of earth around the city block that Shockman was in, the same city block that Lauren lived and worked. She panicked alongside the other citizens, going to Dr. Quake. He was evacuating them, telling them that Shockman was in the area. When Dr. Quake talked to Lorian, she chuckled, smiling. Dr. Quake was perfect. Even though he had total control over the earth, an ability to defeat Shockman in battle, he didn't look like he was made out of rock or mud or earth. Shockman was hideous compared to him. And Lorian was smiling, laughing. That was something that Shockman couldn't take. Shockman burst onto the scene. All of the lights in the city went out. He coursed with energy, and he shot electricity at Dr. Quake, knocking him to the ground. "Get away from her," Shockman said. Lorian screamed, running away. "Wait," Shockman said. But Lorian was running, terrified. "Wait, Lorian, how do you know my name?" she said, running, trying to get to safety. He blasted a giant blast of electricity, knocking Dr. Quake and the first responders out of the scene, running towards Lorian. "Lorian," Shockman said, "please, I know I look the way I do. I know I'm a hideous monster, but I have power. You sing beautifully. We could create something together. We could be together. He went up to her, closer and closer. She was standing completely still. She looked so beautiful when she was still. He put his hand up to her face. They were so close now. He had dreamed about this moment, being with her, and yet she was tense. Please say something, darling, Shockman said. Please say something so I can... Get the hell away from me, Lorien said. She tried to turn and run, but Shockman stunned her, leaving her on the ground, unconscious. She was sleeping again. Shockman screamed in rage. If I can't be with you, Shockman said, no one can. He picked Lorien up. He got ready to ride a lightning bolt into the sky when Dr. Quake punched Shockman in the face, putting him down onto the ground. He dropped Lorien, leaving her by his side. She had electrical burns in her abdomen from when Shockman was trying to hold her. He squared off against Dr. Quake. I'm gonna kill you now, Shockman said. You can try, Dr. Quake said, getting ready for a fight. Shockman summoned a giant lightning bolt and flung it down onto Dr. Quake, but Dr. Quake was faster. He got swallowed by the earth. Shockman whirled around looking for him, but Dr. Quake burst out of the ground, punching him in the face. Shockman clattered to the ground and tried to recover, but Dr. Quake pulled him into the earth. In the earth, there was no electricity. Shockman screamed with rage, trying to use his electricity to break out, but it was too late. He was suffocating under the ground, suffocating alone without Lorien. All those nights watching her, coming to love her, and she hated him. He hurt her. He couldn't breathe down here. Maybe it was better that he couldn't breathe. The electricity in his lungs went out. And Dr. Quake pulled him into the surface, keeping him trapped in a cage of mud, grounding him. Is there anything you want to say to him? Dr. Quake said, standing next to Lorien, who was now awake and staring at Shockman with terror. I will never love you, Lorien said. And she walked away. Shockman had never cried before, but now he felt the tears of electricity run down his cheek. Dr. Quake chuckled. I didn't think you could cry. Dr. Quake watched Lorien leave, admiring her body, then turned and looked at Shockman in the eye. I didn't think you could fall in love. What happened to your grand kingdom? Looking for a queen or something? Shut up, Shockman said, trying to keep his tears under wraps. Take him away, Dr. Quake said. And as Shockman went to prison, all he could think about was her, how she didn't want him, how he was all alone.